So, where am I off to? Hi, and thanks for joining me. Hello everyone. I'm on my way to Leicester to visit the Abbey Pumping Station. It opened in 1891 to pump sewage from Leicester to a new sewage treatment works. It was run by 4 Gimpson steam-powered beam engines, and it stopped working in about 1964 when electric pumps were introduced. Unfortunately, it's not in steam today. I have visited once before many years ago, and on that occasion also it wasn't in steam. It only steams on a few occasions each year, but I'm pleased to be going. It is a tour of the beam engine house. I've had to book the tour, and it is limited to 10 people. Apart from that, I'll be making another visit to something slightly different whilst on site. So I'm looking forward to my afternoon. It's good to have you along with me. I'm just coming off the motorway now. That's the M1 motorway that I'm on.
You've arrived at your destination.
I'm here. It's interesting how people are parked. I can't get my head around it. On my left there's a whole row of cars, and on my right there's no one. I'll park up here. I have already checked. Parking for cars is £3. Parking for camper vans and motorhomes is £5. Now I don't mind paying any extra, but I would expect to have a larger space, and that doesn't seem to be the case. So there we have it. Well, I've arrived. I'm actually at the entrance to the National Space Station. So let's just take a quick look at that, shall we? I'm not here to visit that today. I'm heading for the Abbey Pumping Station. I might appear a bit overdressed with my fleece on, but when we get into the pumping station I think it will be quite cool, particularly when we go into the basement areas. Just making my way to the entrance on this side of the building. The pumping station was built in 1891 for the purpose of pumping sewage to a new treatment works at Beaumont Leys off Anstey Lane, Leicester. The engines worked until 1964, when electric pumps began to take over, and it closed as a pumping station on completion of the new sewage works at Wanlip. The pump house has 4 Wolf compound rotative beam engines made by Gimsons, a Leicester engineering business started by brothers Josiah and Benjamin Gimson in 1842. The beam engines have all been restored to working order and are demonstrated at special events. This is absolutely magnificent. I'm the only person in the hall at the moment, so there's no sounds or other echoing, just my voice. It's brilliant, isn't it? The work that went into these pumping stations. And only a handful of people ever saw inside, the actual employees that worked these stations. So it's incredible that so much money was spent on the embellishments. And that's what makes them so special, and why people are glad that they've been preserved, so that we can see our past and those in the future can see where we've been, as it were. It really is something. To see a very similar pumping station in action, please watch my video on Papplewick Pumping Station near Nottingham, which I visited in September 2019. This is video number 107. Unlike Abbey Pumping Station, which was pumping sewage, Papplewick supplied fresh water to Nottingham. We're making our way to the top floor, which is known as the beam loft, passing through the packing floor, which I'll come back to. Here we go up again. On this floor we can see the beams, which rock when the engines are in motion, each beam weighing about 15 tons.
And drops into the drip tray.
Gimsons also made the hand-operated travelling crane, initially used for erection of the beam engines and subsequently for their servicing. This circular window was meant to be the location of a clock on the front face of the building, but allowance hadn't been made for the travelling crane to pass by, and a clock was never installed. The packing floor gives access to the tops of the cylinders for maintenance purposes.
Nobody stole any, but more importantly, it made sure nobody put any more coal there. So they wanted to know how much to about 80-90 psi, pounds per square inch. Basically, the steam enters the engine via these valves. So these valves decide where the steam goes in relation to the piston and the cylinders. The builders and the council claim pretty much like any contract
We're going back down to the driving floor, where a number of art students are sketching the engines. Thank you. I'm suitably attired for the next stage of the journey. The pumping station was completed in May 1891. The combined cost of the engine house, boiler house and chimney was £13,667, but this was eclipsed by the cost of the engines and boilers at £25,286. This is about £3.8 million today. We're going down to the basement where the sewage pumps are located. These have a diameter of 2 feet 3¼ inches and a stroke of 5 feet 9¼ inches. Each engine can pump 208,000 gallons an hour, which is about 945,000 litres, to a height of 165 feet at 12 revs a minute, equivalent to 178 horsepower. I can't be too certain what everything is down here, so I'll stay quiet. This etching on the wall commemorates the death of a worker in 1890 whilst the pumping station was being built. The transport shed houses a collection of vintage road vehicles, including many horse-drawn items, buses, steam and diesel road rollers, fire engines, commercial vehicles, narrow gauge locomotives and a collection of bicycles. There was very little interpretation of the exhibits, so I've had to do some research, but I've only been able to caption a few items on display. This is steam-fired Bagnall 040 saddle tank loco Leonard, built in 1918. On the mezzanine level, there is a good selection of bicycles, many dating from the late 1800s, including a penny farthing, which were popular in the 1870s and 1880s. Let's take a look at the main exhibition gallery, situated on the ground floor, which has level access, as do the grounds and railway when in operation. Wheelchairs are available free on request, and a staff-assisted lift allows access to the lower beam engine house floor. The upper floors of the beam house are unsuitable for wheelchairs, pushchairs, scooters and those with mobility problems. There is an accessible toilet and baby changing facilities. I enjoyed that very much. I hope you did. It's good to go somewhere different. I have been here before, as I said previously, but I never had that sort of guided tour. Looking around the pumping station I found extremely interesting. The transport was a little bit difficult to film because it's in so tight, it's packed into a small area. Vehicles are right cheek by jowl, as it were, next to each other, making it very difficult indeed. Close by is the River Soar, and I was surprised to find this dedicated spot for scattering the ashes of loved ones. This is not something I've ever thought about before, but it is designated for anyone to use wishing to scatter ashes. All that remains for me to say is many thanks for watching. Look after yourselves, your friends and families. Take the utmost care. Until next time, bye for now. Bye everyone. I'll try and explain the parking situation. As I drove up, on my left was a coach park. Nothing mentioned about motorhomes or camper vans, so I carried on and I turned left into the car park, which is marked for cars. I parked up, I went to pay, expecting to pay £5, but the machine was only designed to pay £3. So I bought a £3 ticket, and another camper van similar to mine came in and parked next to me, and I was talking to him about it because I was expecting to pay £5, and the parking attendant turned up and explained why there were no cars parked along this side, and that was because they were cutting the hedge earlier today. But he said we shouldn't really be here, we should be in the coach park. And I think he had seen me driving up, but I was too far away for him to get my attention. So having discussed that, he said, really, you've got an extra £2 to pay. And I said, I haven't got any cash on me. And then I said, well, no, if you want me to pay £2, I will pay the extra £2. And he said, well, as I'm already here and I've bought the ticket, then he'll leave it at that and he'll make a note. Meanwhile, the camper next to me actually paid him £5 cash. So there you have it. But it's a bit odd because I did point out to him that there's nothing on the actual payment machine about camper vans, and he said, well, it's on the internet. Not everyone looks at the internet, so quite how people are meant to get the message I really don't know.